Rome wasn't ready. No one was. Not the locals, not the tourists, and certainly not the diehard fans who swarmed the Eternal City like it was. Judgment Day. What started as a mysterious pop-up event quickly spiraled into a cultural earthquake. And at the epicenter, Kendrick Lamar and SZA, side by side, on stage. What fans are now calling the most chaotic, magical, and history-making night music has seen since Beyoncé's Renaissance tour? Or maybe ever? But this wasn't just about music. There were backstage meltdowns, secret guest stars who never made it to the stage, a whispered feud between Kendrick and one of SZA's closest collaborators, Italian authorities nearly shutting the whole thing down. And when one jaw-dropping moment left the crowd in stunned silence. Let's just say some fans are still wondering if it was all part of the show, or a personal message aimed at someone very specific. By the time the Coliseum lights went dim, alliances were broken, personal truths were spilled, and one A-list couple walked away separately despite arriving hand-in-hand. So what really happened the night Kendrick and SZA shut down Rome? All started with a rumor. A single blurry photo of Kendrick Lamar walking through Fiumicino Airport with a black hoodie pulled low over his face. At first, fans thought it was a lookalike. He hadn't been spotted in Europe all summer, and his last known appearance was in La just days earlier. But then, hours later, SZA posted a cryptic story, a picture of the Roman skyline. No caption, just a single fire emoji. That's when fans knew something was coming. And it was going to be big dot within hours. The hashtag Rome is burning was trending worldwide. Locals flooded the Piazza Navona, where mysterious crew trucks were being set up under the cover of night. Massive speakers, lighting rigs, and a stage shaped like a broken heart began to take form. No announcements, no tickets, no branding. By morning, the crowd had doubled, then tripled. Police struggled to control the flow. And by noon, SZA was spotted on a hotel balcony just above the square, sipping espresso and waving to fans below. People screamed, some cried. And then, the music started. No one expected Kendrick to take the stage first. Dressed in all white, barefoot, standing still for nearly a full minute before speaking. And when he finally did, his words sent chills down spines. Rome, he said quietly, they told us not to do this. They said it was too much, too loud, too real. But we came anyway, because this is for the ones they forgot. With that, the beat dropped. All Right thundered through ancient stone alleyways and lit the crowd on fire. SZA joined him halfway through the second track. Floating onto the stage in a flowing red gown that shimmered like fire. The chemistry between them was undeniable. Eyes locked. Every move in sync. Fans said it felt like watching two stars orbiting the same sun about to collide. And yet there was tension. An undercurrent of something unspoken. Kendrick would glance at her mid-verse, as if searching for answers. She would occasionally look away, her smile faltering, her energy pulling back. And then came the first twist. As they launched into an unreleased duet, a song no one had ever heard before, SZA abruptly stopped singing. The music kept playing. Kendrick turned toward her, confused. She was frozen, staring out at someone in the crowd. Security rushed forward. Phones flew up. Fans later confirmed it was her ex, music producer Malik Mays Harper, standing dead center in the VIP section. He hadn't been seen with her in over a year. And yet, there he was, arms crossed, emotionless, watching. Kendrick stepped in quickly. "Yo, you good?" He asked her, mic off, caught only by the cameras up close. She nodded, barely. But the performance never fully recovered. Their energy shifted. The duet ended awkwardly. Kendrick tried to revive the crowd with a freestyle, one that called out unnamed snakes in the pit and liars in silk suits. Fans immediately speculated it was about Mays. SZA disappeared backstage. What happened next? That's where things got messy. Backstage leaks came in within minutes. SZA was reportedly in tears, locked in her dressing room. Kendrick was pacing the hallway, demanding to know why Maze had been allowed in. He was never supposed to be. Here, Kendrick reportedly snapped at the team. This was supposed to be ours. A stylist tried to calm him down, saying it was out of their control that the list had been compromised. Pie. Kendrick shot back. Because whoever, it was just ruined the whole damn show. Meanwhile, Maze wasn't leaving. He was seen laughing with members of the Italian press, even posing for selfies with a few stunned fans. When asked why he came, he reportedly said, "She invited me." Don't let the tears fool you. That one sentence set social media ablaze. Fans were divided. Had SZA really invited her ex to this deeply personal show? Or was Maze lying to stir up trouble? Some believed it was a stunt. Others said SZA looked genuinely blindsided. And just when things seemed to calm down, another bombshell dropped. A leaked voice memo surfaced, allegedly sent from SZA to a close friend the night before the show. In it, she can be heard saying, "I don't know if I can face him. Not after everything. Okay, but I have to. For closure, for clarity." Fans were quick to dissect it. Was she talking about Kendrick or Maze? Because here's where it gets even deeper. Some insiders believe SZA and Kendrick were more than just collaborators. Whispers of a secret romance had floated for years. Denied, of course, always. But too many lyrics, too many looks exchanged on stage. Had fans convinced something more was buried beneath the beats? And if that's true, then SZA wasn't just caught between two men in Rome. She was standing in the ruins of something that never got a proper ending by the time she re-emerged on stage. The sun had dipped below the skyline, and the mood had shifted. The energy was electric but fractured. She spoke softly into the mic. Sometimes the past shows up when you least want it. Sometimes it's not about performance, it's about truth. She looked directly at Kendrick. He nodded, solemn. And together, they began again. They performed Love Galore with aching precision. Kendrick altered his verse slightly, slipping in a line about burned letters and midnight lies. Hayes' voice cracked on the final chorus, and when it ended, they embraced long, quiet, and painful. Fans said it didn't feel rehearsed, felt like goodbye, but it wasn't over. Not by a long shot. As the crowd roared, a new figure appeared in the shadows of the stage. No announcement, no spotlight. But when the voice rang out smooth, confident, unmistakable, people screamed louder than ever. Rome, the voice, said, "Y'all mind if I sing something real?" Drake. Yes. Drake. Uninvited. Unannounced. And, as some insiders say, completely unexpected even to Kendrick. The moment Drake stepped onto the stage, a wave of disbelief rippled through the audience. For a full second, no one moved. Not Kendrick, not SZA, not even the crew. Just stunned silence under Roman skies. The last time Drake and Kendrick had shared a stage, the world was still recovering from their lyrical Cold War. Diss tracks, sly, jabs, and tension that had kept hip-hop on edge for years. And now, out of nowhere, Drake was here. In Rome, stepping into the middle of one of the most emotionally charged nights either of them had ever performed. Kendrick took a slow step back. Expression unreadable. SZA turned away, her jaw tightening. Drake, on the other hand, looked completely relaxed. Too relaxed. Dressed in a dark velvet jacket, chain glinting under the lights, he held the mic like he owned the moment. "I had to pull up," he said with a smirk. "Couldn't let y'all have all the therapy without me." Fans didn't know how to react. Some cheered, some booed. But behind the scenes, the tension was boiling over. One crew member was overheard saying, "This wasn't part of the set list. Not even close." Another claimed SZA had whispered, "He's not supposed to be here," just before walking off stage. Drake launched into a slow, moody version of Marvin's Room. The crowd sang along even as confusion buzzed through. The air. Halfway through, he changed the lyrics. Talking to Shaw in Rome, still feeling alone, ... And just like that, the audience gasped. Shaw was watching from the wings, face pale, arms crossed. Kendrick was motionless, staring straight. Ahead, ... As Drake finished, he turned toward Kendrick with a shrug. No hard feelings, right? Just music. Kendrick didn't respond, but fans watching closely saw his hands clench at his sides. Backstage sources say it took 3 staffers to stop him from storming off. One claimed he said under his breath, "This ain't about music. This is a power play." The drama only escalated from there. SZA returned to the stage moments later, visibly shaken but composed. She didn't mention Drake, didn't even look his way. Instead, she said, "Sometimes you think you've left something behind, ... It shows up wearing perfume and memories." She then began singing an unreleased track titled Ghost in Italy, a haunting ballad about betrayal, lingering love, and the kind of wounds that never fully heal. Fans were in tears. Some swore. They saw Kendrick wipe his face during the chorus, but then came another twist. Mid-performance, HAS earpiece crackled. Something was wrong. She pulled it out, looking confused. Offstage producers were scrambling. Someone had leaked part of the setlist, including a deeply personal spoken word piece that Shaw had written, just for the show, and now it was playing live. It's not the way it was supposed to. Out of sequence, without context. And worst of all, with the original audio, not her performance version. It was raw, vulnerable, and in it she named names. "I loved him when I wasn't supposed to." The recording said, "When he was in battles with ghosts and pride, when he couldn't say my name without choking on it," fans instantly knew she was talking about Kendrick. And maybe Drake too. Kendrick's face went cold. Drake raised an eyebrow. The audience froze. Shaw, stunned, stood in the center of the stage, her own voice echoing over the speakers like a confession at a funeral. Immediately, the show was paused. The lights dimmed. A voice announced a technical issue and asked fans to remain calm. But Backstage.com was nowhere to be found. Kendrick confronted a sound engineer. Who the hell cued that track? The engineer insisted it wasn't on his board. Someone hijacked the feed, he said, panicked. Shaw was pacing in her dressing room, nearly hyperventilating. Her manager tried to console her, but she pushed him away. They weren't supposed to hear that. Not like this. Meanwhile, Drake was seen laughing. Not a full laugh. More like that quiet smirk he does when he knows he's one step ahead. Someone from Kendrick's team reportedly approached him and told him to leave. He declined. "She invited me, remember?" he said again, this time louder, just to make sure others heard. Fans were now posting nonstop. TikTok exploded with clips. Some said the whole night felt cursed. Others were calling it the greatest concert meltdown of all time. But even more intriguing were the theories popping up, suggesting that the entire event had been a setup, that someone had planned this chaos from the start, that Shaw, Kendrick, and Drake had all been played, or worse, had played each other. An anonymous insider posted on Reddit claiming the leaked spoken word piece had been stolen from HAS Private, archived by someone close to her team, someone with ties to Maze. The post was deleted within minutes, but screenshots spread like wildfire. Fans started digging. Maze's name was trending again. And then another shock. Maze was gone. Left the venue mid-chaos. No statement, no interviews. Just vanished backstage. Kendrick and Shaw finally spoke alone. It was brief, intense, and overheard only in fragments. "You knew he was coming?" Kendrick said. Shaw shook her head. "Didn't? I swear." He stared at her for a long time. "City's full of ruins," he said quietly. "I just didn't think we'd become one of them." Their conversation was cut short when a producer rushed in, saying they needed to make a decision. The crowd was growing restless. The Roman authorities were threatening to pull the plug if the show didn't resume within 10 minutes. Shaw looked at Kendrick. "What do you want to do?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he walked to the mirror, adjusted his mic, and said, "We finish it, even if it's the last thing we ever do together." They returned to the stage in near darkness. No introduction, no fanfare. Just two artists, raw and unraveling, ready to face the storm. And as the first notes of broken clocks began to play, a new storm was already brewing, one that would shatter not just the night, but the truth behind everything they built together. Because one more secret was still waiting to be revealed. The moment broken clocks ended, the audience erupted into applause, but neither Kendrick nor Shaw smiled. They stood side by side, not touching, not speaking, just breathing. Was the silence before the final blow? And somehow everyone could feel it. 'Cause what came next wasn't a song. It was a reckoning. A soft spotlight fell on Kendrick as he took center stage, holding a mic with both hands. His voice was low, almost trembling. "We didn't plan for this. I didn't plan for this. But if everything's already out in the open, I might as well say what's left." The crowd fell dead silent. Not a whisper, not a phone click. Just Roman night air and the hum of history. Kendrick's single quotes as next words shattered the illusion. "I wrote a song for her," he said, gesturing to Shaw last year. "Never dropped it, because by the time I finished it, we weren't speaking." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Shaw stared at him, stunned. "I was supposed to send it to her the day she left New York," he continued, "but someone told me she was already with someone else, so I held it, kept it to myself." And then he played it, no beat. Just a soft piano loop, and his voice raw, vulnerable. Nothing like the defiant Kendrick the world had known. The lyrics weren't veiled. They were direct. "I watched you cry into your pillow while he texted her back," he rapped. "I said nothing, stayed silent. Swallowed every scream like medicine." Fans were losing it. Some covered their mouths. Others were crying, and SZA ... she was frozen. A single tear slipped down her cheek as the track continued. "They said you loved me, but it came with rules. Don't post, don't touch. Don't call me when I'm with him." The crowd's energy shifted again. People weren't just watching a show anymore. They were witnessing heartbreak in real time. Shaw slowly stepped forward, taking the mic. Her voice cracked as she said, "You should have sent it. No matter what you thought you knew, 'cause none of it was true." Kendrick looked up. "Do you mean?" And that's when Shaw dropped the real bomb. "I wasn't with anyone else. I left because of the letter." The letter ... for months. Fans had speculated about a mysterious letter that had allegedly ended things between Kendrick and Shaw behind the scenes. No one had seen it. No one knew who wrote it. But now Shaw was confirming its existence and placing it at the center of the collapse. "Someone sent me a letter," she said, facing Kendrick. Typed, no name, no return address. Just ... words. Saying you were using me. Saying you were still in love with someone else. That I was just a muse, a prop for your comeback. Kendrick shook his head slowly. "I never wrote that." "I know," Shaw said softly. "Now I do. But back then, it sounded just like you. The voice, the rhythm, it broke me." Drake, who had been off stage until then, reappeared in the shadows. Arms folded, silent, watching. Fans started whispering. Could it have been ... him? Before anyone could process, Kendrick asked, "Do you still have it?" Shaw hesitated, then nodded. "Kept it because some part of me wanted to believe it was real. That you weren't who I thought you were. It was easier than admitting I left the only person who ever saw me completely." Kendrick turned to the crowd. "That's what this night was supposed to be about. Not fame, not spectacle, truth." And then, just as the emotion peaked, a voice rang out from the wings. Calm, smooth, far too familiar. Guess it's time I cleared the air. Drake stepped into the light. The crowd gasped. Cha's face went pale. Kendrick didn't move. Was as if the universe had paused, waiting for whatever came next. Drake looked directly at Cha. "You kept the letter?" he asked. She nodded, eyes narrowing. "Then you already know," he said simply. "You wrote it." Kendrick said, voice quiet, sharp as glass. Drake didn't deny it, didn't flinch. He just said, "I thought I was protecting her." "From you? From the way you pull people in and then disappear. I've seen you do it before. I didn't want her to be another song on your next album." The crowd turned instantly. Boos began to rise. Cha stepped back like she'd been slapped. "You had no right," she said, voice trembling. Drake stepped closer. "I had every right. You were falling apart. He was busy fighting ghosts and writing verses. You needed someone who saw you." Kendrick's voice cut through the noise. "You sabotaged us." "I saved her," Drake snapped. "No," Cha said firmly. "You saved yourself. You wanted me broken so I'd fall into you. And I almost did." Fans were now in shock. Comments flooded social media. Clips of the confrontation spread like wildfire. The roaming showdown, they were calling it, and it wasn't over. Kendrick walked to the edge of the stage, staring out at the sea of faces. "Everybody wants the throne," he said, "but nobody wants to tell the truth." Tonight wasn't supposed to be a battle. It was a love letter, and it got intercepted. He turned back to Cha. "I'm sorry for not sending the song, for letting silence speak louder than love." Cha looked at him, tears streaking her cheeks. "And I'm sorry for believing someone else's voice over yours." The crowd cheered. A moment of raw reconciliation, but the damage had already been done. Trust had been shattered. Friendships betrayed. And as the lights began to dim, Cha whispered one final line into the mic. "I don't know if we can go back, but at least now we know what was real." The music started again, and what was said in that video would change everything. The leaked footage hit the internet at exactly 3:12 a.m. Rome time, just as the crowd was dispersing and the final echoes of Cha's voice faded into the ancient night. The clip was only 38 seconds long, shot on a hidden phone camera from behind a row of catering trucks near the venue. Grainy, shaky, but unmistakable. It showed May's Cha's ex speaking with a man in a black hoodie and a lanyard from the production team. The audio was muffled at first, but then Mays leaned in, just enough for the mic to catch 5 words that set the internet on fire. "She'll never trust him again." Fans immediately recognized the voice. Mays hadn't just crashed the show. He'd helped stage the chaos. Within minutes, more footage surfaced, this time from an internal chat log posted anonymously to a fan Discord server. Screenshots showed Mays coordinating with at least 2 insiders, discussing the show schedule, audio files, even camera angles. It wasn't just sabotage. It was a full-on operation. And worst of all, the posts were time-stamped days before the concert. Meaning everything, the surprise guest appearance, the leaked voice memo, even the playback of Cha's private poem, had been planned. Kendrick saw the leak. Just as he and Cha were being ushered into their separate hotel cars, he stopped, cold phone in hand. "You need to see this?" he told her, handing it over. Cha's hands trembled as she watched the video in silence, lips pressed tight. When it ended, she didn't say a word. She just looked up at him with a blank expression and then got into the car without another glance. Back in the hotel suite, Cha collapsed onto the couch, still wearing her stage dress, makeup smudged, eyes swollen from crying. Her manager asked if she wanted to make a statement. "What am I supposed to say?" she whispered. "That everyone I trusted turned out to be lying." She stared at the ceiling for a long time before adding, "He did this. All of it. Because he couldn't stand the fact that I moved on." Meanwhile, Kendrick was pacing the marble floor of his penthouse room, deep in thought. His team was in full damage control mode. But he wasn't interested in statements or spin. "He broke her," he said to his closest friend, and then he tried to make it look like I did. There was fury in his voice, but also regret. "I should have known. It's been circling her for months." The next morning, the world woke up to chaos. Hashmaze Exposed was trending globally. Journalists dug into his recent movements, discovering he'd flown into Rome just 2 days before the concert under a pseudonym. Screenshots of him allegedly rehearsing lines to paparazzi started circulating. Fans were furious. Some demanded he be banned from the industry. Others speculated that he'd been working with Drake all along, pointing to their history of subtle collaboration and shared producers. But what really had fans reeling was SZA's silence. For 36 hours, she didn't post, didn't speak, didn't even show her face outside the hotel. And then, without warning, she dropped a single photo on her Instagram story, a shot of the Roman Colosseum at night, crumbling stone under moonlight, with 3 words written in tiny white text. "He never won. People lost it." Was she referring to Maze, to Drake? It's the past version of herself that doubted her own worth? No one knew for sure, but the photo was raw, defiant, and deeply poetic. And that's when the narrative began to shift. SZA wasn't just a victim in this story, she was the survivor. The final twist came later that day, when Kendrick held a last-minute press conference. Outside the venue, no glam, no entourage, just him and a mic. "The truth always gets out," he said. "No matter who tries to bury it. What happened in Rome wasn't a failure. It was a funeral. For everything fake. For everyone who used our names as weapons. But from now on, the story's ours again." A journalist asked if he and SZA would work together again. Kendrick paused for a moment. "That's up to her," he said. "But my door's always open." Hours later, as twilight fell over the city, fans gathered again in the square. Not for a show, but for a vigil. They brought candles, flowers, and handwritten notes. Some played SZA's music softly on their phones. Others wore t-shirts with lyrics from Kendrick's unreleased song. The energy was quiet but electric, a kind of collective heartbreak, mourning what was lost, honoring what survived. And then, just before midnight, SZA appeared. No stage, no lights, just her in a hoodie and jeans, walking slowly through the lawn. Crowd, people gasped. Some cried. She didn't say much, just nodded, hugged a few fans, and whispered thank you. But then, she did one last thing. She pulled out her phone, opened her notes app, and began reading aloud. It was a poem. Maybe the one she had meant to perform before the night unraveled. Her voice was soft but strong. "This city tried to break me, but the ruins reminded me even broken things can still hold history. I was never yours to destroy. I was my own rescue." The crowd erupted into applause. SZA smiled, wiped her eyes, and disappeared into the night. And just like that, it was over. But the ripples, they're still spreading, because the night Kendrick and SZA shut down Rome wasn't just a concert, it was a war, a love story, a betrayal, a comeback. And for fans who were there or who watched it unfold from afar, it was something they'll never forget. And now, there's only one question left. What comes next? Because as the smoke clears and the lies unravel, one thing's for sure, this story isn't over. Not even close. So now you've seen it. The heartbreak, the sabotage, the secrets, the stolen moments under Roman skies. What started as a surprise, pop-up turned into a lyrical battlefield that exposed the raw, unfiltered truth between 3 of music's biggest names. Kendrick Lamar tried to reclaim a love that never truly left his pen. SZA stood in the ashes of trust and somehow still found her voice. And Drake. Well, Drake reminded everyone that even silence can be strategic. And as for Maze, the man behind the curtain, his role in all this might have started with bitterness. But it ended with the entire world watching him fall from grace. But maybe the real story here isn't about betrayal. Maybe it's about clarity. It's about two artists brave enough to stand on a stage in front of thousands and tear open wounds they'd spent years hiding. No costumes, no choreography, just pain, truth, and poetry. And whether or not they ever make music together again, they've already left their mark, not just on Rome, but on every heart that beat along with them that night now. We want to hear from you. Do you think SZA and Kendrick will ever find their way back to each other, personally or professionally? Was Drake just playing chess? Or did he go too far this time? And what about Maze? Was this sabotage the final nail in his career? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't hold back. This story is too big to stay quiet about. And if you want more explosive, deep dives into music's most jaw-dropping moments, you already know what to do. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss the drama. Because when the stars fall, we're right here to catch every piece.